Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal link in the info box below the video. But most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Sleeping Warrior, Ranty Flat Earth, and Arwin. Good to have you all.
Good afternoon.
Howdy. Hola.
Hello. Any signs of curvature, gentlemen?
No sign
Not on the Earth.
of curvature.
Ranty? Curve hunter?
No.
No?
No. No.
No?
No.
Are you sure?
Any signs of axial rotation then in that case?
No.
I saw a ballet dancer once.
Of the Earth-based
No,
variety?
Arwin. Of the Earth kind, Arwin.
No.
I'm sure you do it intentionally. You spend all night thinking, what will be my next axial rotation that I can think of that's not Earth-based?
Nah, I
Because
just
he's a knob.
improv.
I mean, a contrarian.
So, okay, fair
Next
enough.
question, Nathan.
Any signs of gas pressure without a container?
Never.
Don't be silly, Nathan. That would defy the second law of entropy, second law of thermodynamics, entropy.
Would, you're right. However, people think space is real, even though it defies the second law of thermodynamics. So why is it we are living in a world and an age where we have people who have a space religion and think that they have a vacuum of space that we can travel into? Why? Why? So no
culture.
evidence of this then. No evidence of this religious belief.
Fantasy?
It's gravity, Nathan. It's like when they, when they ask you how old is the fossil in the rock, and you say, well, we know how old the fossil is because we can age the rock. And then you say, well, how old's the rock? And you say, well, we know how old the fossil is so we can age the rock. Well, it's a bit like that. We say, well, gravity. Well, can you prove the gravity? Well, no, we can't prove the gravity. Gas pressure. So it's kind of cyclical in that respect.
Yeah, we just get a different part of their religious faith asserted to us without any evidence of that either. I mean, we'll get to that now. I mean, is there any scientific evidence of gravity?
It's like if P, therefore Q.
No,
Q, therefore
not
P.
that,
So
no.
if gravity, therefore gas pressure. If gas pressure,
No.
therefore gravity.
No. No, that's their stitch they made into their body of science, basically, to tie them together. It has nothing to do with gravity. Gravity is not a formological fallacy. The only problem with gravity is we can't manipulate it, and thus it can't be scientifically proven. It can only be deduced, or through complex hypothesis for all kinds of things, and I'm still working on it.
Excellent. You keep working on it, Arwin.
I certainly will.
In the meantime, is there any evidence of a molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
I'll not be a dick and just say no.
Good, Arwin,
No.
thank God.
No, afraid not.
Anybody else? No. Ranty says no. What about the distance to the sun? Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
There is no distance to the sun.
Good answer. Feel free to tell us in the chat what you believe the sun is.
Oh, that is very fascinating, by the way, in a reference. I was watching a Wakey Wakey channel, a video from 2 years ago, in 2016, where he was talking about the Vedic, he went to India, went to some temple there, had an interview. It was very fascinating. Wakey Wakey channel. It's called Flat Earth Advanced. Wakey Wakey Goes Vedic documentary. I highly recommend it. It's extremely extensive about Vedic stuff and about their cosmos and how the lands are supposed to be divided according to these ancient maps. It's absolutely fascinating. Just and it's so old. You can feel how old this is, and there is something to it. It's just very fascinating. So, and it also has, the designations for the sun. And weird enough, they call it like a sphere there. That's very odd. That was very odd to me. So, but still have to look a little bit deeper into this. It's just fascinating old knowledge, and it's so rich and detailed. Anyway,
So did he have a distance to the sun?
There is no distance.
they
to the
do
moon.
not. That's the funny thing too. They don't really, they don't reference that. It's just always there. It's like a rhythm to them rather than some lamp object in the sky. It's fascinating. So no
Alrighty
distance to
then.
the sun.
Fair enough. What about evidence of the presupposition? R value. Any evidence of that? Earth radius?
No.
Come on, you just have to presuppose it and everything will be all right.
Right, who's going to say the prayer of heliocentricity? Me or you, Arwen?
Sorry?
I'll give the blessing. Radius Dominus, Gravitas Spiritus Sanctus, Arwen. Go in peace, brothers. In R you trust.
Oh,
I like the Arwin part, but yeah, you always get it wrong.
It's Arwen instead of Amen.
I know, I like that part, but you always get the order wrong. It's Radius Sanctus Gravitas Dominus.
Gravitas Dominus, of course.
Yes. Ha.
Radius Sanctus Gravitas Dominus. I like the Spiritus Sanctus, but I dropped that because you gotta go at me.
Yeah, unless you want to get God involved.
Of course. At the evolution debate the last few shows, people get very, very upset if you tell them that evolution isn't real.
But then,
Yeah,
then you gotta say Helios Dominus.
I listened to that with intent, and I found that our friend Tommy, basically, he doesn't like being told that there is no evidence for evolution. But for some reason, thinks that wisdom teeth prove evolution, and I'm like, I don't think Tommy realizes that wisdom teeth is also proof of creation. In the same way that he argues that it's evolution, I can equally argue, and he can't prove otherwise, that it's equally proof of creation in that we were made this way, right? It goes both ways, and it's neither a proof one of the other. It's just an observation. It proves neither.
What surprises me more is that people are so, Tommy, to use his words, behaved like a feminist. Just, that's how he behaved. So he was projecting quite a lot while he was talking over us, not listening to a word we had to say, not listening to our questions, and telling us that we were religious. but that was quite ironic, but funny.
Don't call it a feminist, call it a Marxist, because that is more accurate.
I'm just repeating his words, not the term I would use, Arwen, for certain. But either way, my point is that he was quite emotionally involved in this, and there's other people that immediately started debating him, and I was quite shocked because, frankly, I couldn't give a shit. I mean, this subject doesn't really concern me or faze me in the slightest, so the fact that people get so passionate about it is kind of beyond me. It's like I looked at it in a very cold way, and John went through some of I can't remember the name of it, the taxon or something classification system that they actually use that this is all derived from. But I said it on yesterday's show, this has all just come from classification systems, and you can't extract out evolution from those classification systems. People do, and that's why we end up with evolution and Darwin being the worst culprit of it. But like I say, I looked at it in a very cold way because I didn't care that much. But the fact that people do is what I found the most surprising. Why does Tommy, or anybody else for that matter, care so much about it? Is it just because it's part of their indoctrination at school and therefore they're attached? I don't get it.
No, that's not it. It's a struggle. It's just, evolution, creation, it's just another one of those keys in the mind that unlocks entire worlds, and it's a big difference. So people will either be very passionate about evolution, just like they would be about the ball Earth, and some about creationism, as they would be
To be honest,
with
I think
flat
when-
Earth. It's just another one of those things.
I think when Tommy asked, was it were you religious, Nathan, and he demanded an answer when we were talking about ball Earth over flat Earth. I think it's the same argument with evolution. If you believe in evolution, you're pro-science. If you're questioning evolution and you think that we may not have been evolved from monkeys that all originated from an explosion where nothing exploded into everything, then you reject science and you must therefore be a fundamentalist Christian. And that's the connection that he's making by arguing for evolution.
Sure, but
But
by
I just find his
pro-science, you
position
mean
untenable.
pro-pseudoscience,
False
not pro-science.
dichotomy.
But it's pro-pseudoscience. This is derived from astrophysics. So therefore, this is the realm of pseudoscience when they say, well, science is on my side if I support evolution. No, it isn't. Pseudoscience is where you've derived big bangs and everything from nothing from. That's what the current science, as they call it, is in terms of its statements, but it doesn't mean that it's science. It means it's actually and literally pseudoscience. It's derived from astrophysicists' musings and their observations of lights in the sky. It doesn't make it science.
Indeed.
Well,
But yeah,
I want to change the topic slightly.
Well, we're done with
I
housekeeping.
want to
so
change the topic slightly.
go ahead.
Yeah, we're done, yeah?
Yeah?
All right, share my screen, Maestro. Right, so tonight is the harvest moon. If you're in the UK, it's going to be about 7 p.m. local time, and it'll rise in the east after the sun has set in the west. So wherever the sun sets, you need to be looking in the east, the opposite direction, right? And you'll see it rise over the horizon. And if you can get a low horizon, because there's like sea, and I know you can't really get sea, but if you can get a low horizon that's not obscured by buildings and stuff like that, get yourself on a hill of some kind, look over to the east, and then watch as the sun rises. Watch as the moon rises. You will observe that it is absolutely massive. You will see that it's a funny color, like a yellowy, orangey color. And the helios, before you do it, consider the heliocentric explanation for it before you do it, so that when you're watching it, you can think, does this make any logical sense to me based on what they're telling me? And one of the things that you will observe is that it's massive. Compared to what it is normal, so that it's got relative size variance that's massive. And the explanation for it is the full moon. Then this is just reading from. I've just typed in why is the harvest moon so big and orange, and you can find it. It's on phys.org news. Anyway, you can find it. But basically, it says the full moon will always look bigger when it's nearer the horizon, right? So this makes me think about the sun. When they say about the sun doesn't change its angular size as it disappears into the distance if it is a flat Earth.
no,
Well,
it
if the
does.
sun's getting towards,
It
if the
gets a
sun's
little
getting towards
bigger.
the horizon,
Sorry.
so if the sun or the moon is getting towards the horizon, it's an illusion. They say the full moon will always look bigger when it's near the horizon, but it's not actually bigger. It's totally an optical illusion. That's the key word, the key phrase. It's totally an optical illusion. So basically, what you're looking at is a mirage. That's the level of what they're trying to get you to understand and believe, right? It's an optical illusion. You can test this just by getting a. Go on, Arwin.
Yeah, sorry, but we've
Just can't help himself,
we've
can he?
discussed it so elaborately about this subject, and yeah, the heavenly bodies like the sun and the moon do get a little bigger optically at the horizon. Could be diffraction involved because yeah, you're looking past the plane. Could be all kinds of things, but that does happen. It is an optical thing. It could be because there is more thicker atmosphere in between, so it could be lensed, all that kind of thing.
Good morning, everybody.
It's the same in the flat Earth.
Hey, chocolate.
Anyway, sorry to
Arwin.
interrupt you.
Carry on
Okay.
now, Anthony.
So the full moon will always look bigger when it's near the horizon, but it's not actually bigger. This is totally an optical illusion. You can test this by we'll substitute an aspirin for a coin. Just get a coin at arm's length. The aspirin will exactly cover the moon when it's by the horizon, and it'll do the same when you hold it up to the sky when the moon is higher up, but it appears smaller. Well, this is one of those lovely stories that when people say a lovely story like the Rumpus does, if you ask them for evidence that it's true, then they never have any, right? But this is an anecdote that this person, whoever's written this article, the University of Toronto, is claiming is true. But you can do this yourself. So if you get a coin and watch the moon rise over the east horizon, if you're lucky enough and you're at elevation and you can see the horizon
Hold on,
free
Anthony.
of any
Sorry
buildings.
to interrupt.
Hello?
Sorry to interrupt.
Planarwalk.
Hello, Planarwalk.
Hello.
Good to have you.
How's
Sorry,
it going?
carry on, Anthony.
You will observe that the moon literally, physically changes its size. It shrinks in size and it loses its color of like an orangey, yellowy color to a white again, a silvery white. Now, the explanation is that this is basically an optical illusion caused by refraction at the horizon. But when you're looking at this, I mean, the effects of refraction at the horizon are negligible by all accounts. Fermat's principle. There's not enough evidence to support this nonsense that's being explained. But please go out and observe this tonight. And if anyone takes pictures, it'd be really cool if you sent them to us somehow. We'll deal with that afterwards. But basically, this phenomena that happens, this massive discolored moon rise that will happen tonight, is very unique, right? It's cyclical. It's cyclical by virtue of the lunar cycle. But the interesting thing is the explanation on the heliocentric model is that it's totally an illusion, and it's not. Whatever's going on, your eyes are not deceiving you. The moon is physically bigger, and it's a funny color, and then you can literally watch it shrink back down to its normal size and change its color back to a silvery white color. And the explanation on the heliocentric model is nonsense for it. For me, it's the way of science giving two fingers up. Nature for giving its two fingers up to science and saying, "Come on, then, guys, explain this away." So just bear in mind, it's to do with the ecliptic path, refraction, and a bit of pollutants in the atmosphere, just so happening to all accumulate together on one night only. But it's crazy. So just be aware. It'll be about 7 o'clock onwards ish. Check it up yourself. Don't rely on my word because I'm not sure. I've not looked it up, but it's a really key thing. So be aware of that one for tonight. And the other one that I want to remind folk is I've been asked by FE Corps president to address his upcoming statements with regards to Sean Hufford. So the best way to deal with it is to open up his page. And if you guys want to go over and see what the latest is in terms of this, you guys can see that there is a statement that's set for 1800 UK time. I think this is. I'm not entirely sure, but I think this is 1800 UK time, so it's another 5 hours away, 4 hours away. And what it's going to be to do with is to do with people that are like Flat Earth Reset, Sean Hufford, that are propagating dishonesty against FE Corps, saying things that they are supposed to have done that have not got right or whatever. I don't really know what the content's going to be, but I've been asked to plug it because he wants the word to be spread. That they are literally going to start taking action against these channels that are propagating dishonest lies, and they're going to target specific issues that they're going to address in this message of tonight. Now, I don't even know what's going to be said. I know roughly what the gist of it. It's going to be partly to do with Sean, partly to do with Flat Earth Reset, but he's asked me to plug it. So go over to FE Corps' website, sub to it, click the bell notification, and keep your eye on this for tonight in 4 hours' time. It's going to be an interesting one because I don't quite know what's going to happen because I know that a lot's happened in the last 48 hours, and I've lost track of it now. And I don't know what's happening. I just know that.
Hold on, Anthony. Hold on. Just go to the board of directors set reminder thing and then click on the video. So open up the video, not the set reminder. Click FE Corps board of directors, and it'll open up the page that's right. Then scroll down and go to the share link. There we go. Share, and then copy the link.
Copy the link.
Yeah, so if you scroll down, there should be an actual link that you can copy.
Not letting me scroll down.
Yeah. So you see where it says, Anthony.
I'm trying.
Go back to the page that you were just on. Yeah, see where it says share a link.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go to the across bit, and it should just have copy on there somewhere.
Are you on a phone?
No,
I'm on the PC. But
normally just got a link that you can click.
Is that it?
No, that's an embedding link. Man, why is it so complicated to just find a share link for this video?
That's weird. It's different.
Yeah, I was going to say
your interface is different.
Right, come off that. Come off that. Just
I've got it. I've copied it.
There you go. Right, if you can stick that in the Hangout, I'll
what do you want me to do with it?
stick it in the Hangout side chat, and then I'll copy it and stick it in the public link so that people can actually go to that video when it broadcasts at 6 p.m. UK time. Did you say 6 p.m. UK time?
I'll be there because I want to. I'll be there because I want to know what's going on. I want to know what the issue is currently.
It's bad timing because obviously at about 6:30 you need to start prepping to take a picture of the harvest moon, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it is bad timing.
Well, you know, just be aware if you're in the UK to be taking pictures of the harvest moon half an hour after they begin that live stream. But there you go, the link's in the public chat. Click on it if you want to go and actually set a reminder. So let's say a proper hello. We've had a couple. Sorry, Arwin. We've had a couple of new guests. So Earth Flattener, I had to pop you on mute just because Anthony was still chatting away. Had a bit of background noise. And Planarwalk. Let's say a proper hello to our two new guests. Very good to have you both.
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure to have you. And good to have Planarwalk as well. Maybe away from his mic.
Thank you.
How's everybody doing?
Hey, Chocolate.
I'm doing pretty alright.
Cool.
Honestly, could be better, but yeah.
True that. Be worse though.
Definitely. I mean, it's probably going to get, like, because I think I've gotten a cold. Like, a cold's been developing today. And so, yeah, so it's probably going to get worse over the next few days, but I'll try and keep on trucking along, so.
Are you a
Get
Kiwi?
some colloidal silver, quick.
Are you a Kiwi?
Yes, I am.
Cool. What time is it there?
It's 12:48 a.m.
Oh, that's not such a terrible time.
I'm a night owl, so yeah, that's why I'm usually awake at this type of time of night.
We started that a little bit earlier, so I thought we might catch some Kiwis and some Aussies, and we have. I don't think you've been on before, have you?
I have been on before.
Oh, okay, my bad. So with the title like Planarwalk, I can assume what side of the fence you're on, right?
Probably not.
What's your deal then?
Well, so the reason why I have the name Planarwalk is because this was probably about, I'm trying to think. Yeah, about 8 years ago, I was making a RuneScape account. I was 13 at the time, and at the time I played Magic the Gathering, and there's a card type in Magic the Gathering called Planeswalkers, and on one of the cards, the flavor text was had something to do about these Planarwalkers, right? And so I thought, that would be a cool name for a RuneScape account. So I tried to make that a RuneScape account, but wasn't able to. So I tried Planarwalk 2, and because I think I needed a number in there or something. So I made that account, and I've just been using the name Planarwalk for everything ever since then. So.
Hey, Planner.
Hello.
How's it going?
Yes. It's going all right. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. How's the rocket, the rocketry coming along?
I haven't been doing much on it lately. I've actually got to push for a game that I'm working on. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's give a heads up to what's actually happening. So, I said to Planner, we were discussing about the validity of the ISS, and I was suggesting that the live feed should be able to pick something up from Earth. So if it's watching Earth, then we could fire something at the ISS, and Planner said here that he could build a rocket.
But I have been thinking about this, and I have realized a major problem with it, right? And that is trying to get something up high enough so that it can actually be viewed from the ISS.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if you were to send a rocket up 50 kilometers, then likely you wouldn't be able to see it from the ISS.
Okay. But I mean,
And-
we spoke about fireworks, red smoke, lights, lasers, bells and whistles, something that could be seen from the ISS live feed. Yeah.
But that would be very difficult to do. Like a laser, you'd have to shine it directly at the ISS, so you'd need to know exactly where the ISS is. So you need to calculate where the ISS is going to be. You need to know exactly where the rocket's going to be. And then you got to make sure that you don't accidentally cause something to go wrong if you do shine a laser light at the ISS. And
But
the
main thing is just to get it seen on the live feed, right? Because people watch the live feed all the time, and they would like to see something, from Earth, and say, "Well, look, there's my rocket," or "There's,
I'd like to see some infrared footage because, that will look right through any optical effects, light-based effects. So get some infrared footage.
Listen, Planarwalk. I'm quite interested in going through your recent video about. It was entitled "Correcting Nathan Oakley." Are you familiar with the one I'm referring to?
Yes, that was a recent video that I've made. I've made two of them where I just reiterated a point that I made in the first one, and
You made quite a few assertions. One most notable one was that the independent variable is not necessarily the cause. Do you still stand by that?
I do still stand by that.
In what example can you give where that would satisfy a scientific experiment? Could you ever give where the independent variable is not the cause?
Okay, so one thing that I actually did in the new video is I came up with a experiment to test the speed of sound, right? And so what you do is you set a distance. Your independent variable is the distance at which you're measuring the sound from. So I took the example of 1 kilometer, right? And then in the
let's start at the beginning. What would be your observed phenomena that you want to be doing an experiment for? What's the phenomena that you observe? That sound takes longer to get to you than light.
Yes, that is one way of explaining it.
Okay.
And so
what would the hypothesis be? What would your experimental hypothesis be?
So the hypothesis is that if it takes longer, like if there is time between the light reaching you and the sound reaching you, then sound obviously takes time to sound obviously takes more time to reach you than light. Correct?
Okay.
And your independent variable is the distance, because you can change that. So I set it as 1 kilometer. And the dependent variable is time. Now, distance will, or
Sorry,
distance
I've
should
just got to
affect
stop you because
time.
this is an abortion. So you're saying if distance, then time. So in science, you're establishing cause and effect relationships. The cause being your independent variable, the effect being your dependent variable. And what you've just said is if distance, then time. So you're literally, in your hypothesis, claiming that distance causes time.
No, I'm saying that distance has an effect on time.
Well, having an effect on something isn't the cause of something, and in science, you're trying to establish the cause.
The cause is actually the speed of sound.
Oh, right. And are you varying and manipulating the speed of sound?
No, because the speed of sound is generally relatively constant.
Right, so it's not varied and manipulated by the researcher in this instance?
We find a way to establish what the speed of sound is.
Sorry, do you understand what the word variable means?
Yes, I do.
What does it mean?
It means something that... It means a value that has a... well, it's just a value, really.
Sorry, a value would be a mathematical term. We're dealing with the natural world, not mathematics. That was something I was going to come on to later, because you described an experiment in your video, not realising that you were detailing mathematics and not science. So we'll come to that later. I'll ask you the
Science
question
does
again.
deal with,
I'll ask you
math.
the question again.
Um,
Do you understand what variable means?
I do.
What does it mean?
Well, it means it's simply a value.
Sorry, the word variable starts with the word vary. So what do you think that means?
Well,
This is like pulling
for
teeth.
a lot of people,
I'll just stop you and tell you. It means you can vary it.
but you've also got
Not
constant
but.
variables.
Not but. Variable is something that you can vary.
Have you heard of constant
Don't
variables?
ask me a question. We're struggling with the word variable at the moment, my friend. So until you acknowledge that something that is an independent variable, the thing that you will vary and manipulate as a researcher, is indeed something that you can vary. Until you acknowledge that, we're not going to move anywhere.
Not every variable has to be varied. So there are things called constant variables which don't change.
Controlled variables, not constant.
Yeah, we're not talking about the controls. We're talking about the causes.
Well, constant variables. So
Did
say,
you not hear what I just said? We're not talking about the things being held constant. We're trying to establish the cause of things.
But we still treat constants as variables.
We're not talking about constants. We are talking about the independent variable and trying to get it through your thick skull that the independent variable needs to be varied. But you're struggling to understand this.
Yes, I do agree that the independent variable needs to be varied.
Right. So in your quasi-experiment, what precisely are you varying? The independent variable
Distance.
of distance.
Yep.
Oh, right. Well, what does that have to do with proving the cause of things if you're varying the distance?
So changing the distance. So you set the distance to 1 kilometer.
I can't reach that. Brian Lynch, I didn't catch it. You need to mute your watch page.
Please mute your listen page. Bernardo?
Your
up,
independent
please.
variable in an experiment is your presumed cause.
It is something that has. It is something that can have an effect on the result, not the cause of the result. The cause is actually the process that happens when. So the process would be that sound moves through the air at a rate, and that is the cause.
Sorry, sound moving through the air at a rate is the cause. Cause of what? Sound moving through the air at a rate? No, you're just observing something happening. I'm trying to establish in your quasi-bullshit what was your independent variable and its distance. Well, in an experiment, distance, in your instance, is the cause. You're saying, no, the cause is something that I assert thereafter. No. In your experiment, you will express a hypothesis. And your hypothesis has two predictions in it. One is a zero difference, i.e. when you vary your independent variable, no effect takes place on the dependent variable. That would be called a null or a zero difference result. So you vary the thing that you assume is the cause, because that's what you're trying to establish in science, cause and effect. So you vary the thing that you think causes the effect, and if it doesn't, it will adhere to your null. That would be the zero difference part of your hypothesis. However, in your alternative hypothesis, you establish that it is the cause of the effect. So to assert to me that you're not trying to establish cause when that is the very purpose of hypothesis-driven experimentation, it will get me quite annoyed quite quickly.
Here is the problem that you're making. You're taking something which has an effect.
I'm not doing anything.
What
are you talking about? This isn't my experiment. I'm not doing anything. Don't tell me what I'm doing. I'm detailing the scientific method to a bonehead.
So when something So when you take the independent variable, yes, it influences the
Doesn't influence anything. It's your presumed cause. Presumed. Validated by systematic experimentation. You presume your independent variable will cause the effect. That would be called an alternative hypothesis. If it doesn't, it will adhere to your null hypothesis. Why are you talking over me? I'm explaining this to a retard that doesn't understand, and you keep telling me what I will do in an experiment and what a hypothesis is. You do not understand this. I do.
What you are presuming is you're assuming that what you do when you set up a scientific experiment is you presume that the independent variable influences the
Not
dependent
influences,
variable.
causes. You're Jake. Hello? Hello? Hello, Jake?
And I just got to say to Sleeping Warrior, the reason why I'm stuttering is because it's rather cold here. It's something like I don't have a heat pump in my room or anything, so...
So yeah, you were
rather
trying to
cold.
establish cause and effect relationships. That's what science does through systematic experimentation. What is an experiment?
An experiment is something that you do to find, to see what the results are, and from those results you can establish what's happening.
An experiment is a hypothesis test.
Yep.
Do you mean yeah?
I'm agreeing. An experiment
Yeah, I'm
tests
telling
a
you,
hypothesis.
that's not what you said.
But it does help us find out things about what's happening in the real world, you know?
The natural
That's-
world. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
You start with an observed phenomena in the natural world.
And what we can do is, so you take your independent variable, you presume that it has a influence on the dependent variable. If it doesn't have a if it doesn't have any effect on the dependent variable, you know, then obviously your hypothesis about it is incorrect.
No. Then it falls under your null hypothesis. So part of your hypothesis has the prediction of nil result, no difference. So no, it doesn't mean your hypothesis is wrong. It means you validate your... Why are you talking over me, thicko?
I'm just agreeing with some things that you're saying.
Well, so far
Just
you've
now.
made 2 videos about me being wrong, and you seem to be agreeing with everything as I correct your idiocy. So why have you got 2 videos up about me being wrong, you stuttering Simon?
Honestly, the only reason why I'm stuttering is because it's really cold right now.
Really? So, your independent variable in a scientific experiment is your presumed cause. According to your shite, your presumed cause is distance, a concept that doesn't cause anything.
And so...
Not and so. Yes, Nathan. I'm stupid, bonehead. I think distance, a concept, causes things, because I don't understand science. That's what I want to hear from you, bonehead.
The thing is, I do agree that distance doesn't cause anything.
Well, why have you got it as your independent variable, you absolute bonehead?
Okay, what would you suggest the independent
I'm not
variable
suggesting
be?
anything to a retard who's trying to prove something to me and claiming I don't understand things. You arrogant little prick.
So, here's the thing.
So we've established that I understand what science is, and you think mathematics is science, don't you, Sunshine?
I think mathematics has a part in science.
Oh, really? Well, we're trying to establish what happens in the natural world. Nothing to do with what mathematical formulas do. So when you challenge me to explain what a formula does, I slap my face and go, is this guy stupid? Does he not understand that science deals with the natural world and not his mathematical formulas that is devised as challenges? Go to a maths forum.
Well, mathematical formulas do have an...
Yeah, you've said that. You're repeating yourself. We're dealing with the natural world, not mathematics, Sunshine. Go to a bloody maths forum.
The thing is with a whole lot of things, like just say you throw a ball up in the air, then there are maths to that. You know, a parabola. It forms a parabola, which is a mathematical concept, and we can come up with calculations to work out where it should be at any part of the parabola.
Really? Shout out to Betty. Give me the mathematical formula for germ theory.
There's actually a few. It depends on the on how contagious the like if we're talking about diseases.
Just write out the formula. Just write out the mathematical formula for it.
Well, there's no particular mathematical formula, but
Oh, right. So when we're validating things and formulating scientific theories, we don't need mathematics. There is no mathematical formula for the scientific germ theory that's been developed through systematic experimentation. Is that what you're telling me? We don't need maths for that? Contrary to what you've just asserted.
We do need maths for certain things.
Give me the mathematical formula for germ theory then, thicko.
Well, I don't know much about germ theory.
Oh, right.
But
I thought you knew all about maths. Maths is part of science, according to you, and you've just asserted something that's absolutely true. We don't need to develop any mathematical formulas for germ theory.
Oh, there will definitely be mathematical formulas in germ theory.
Well, present one.
So when it
Present
comes
one.
to
Hold on. You've just said there definitely is. Get it. Put it on screen.
And I'm about to,
No,
I'm about
we
to
are
present
going
one.
no further. This show stops here until you present proof of what you've just asserted. Put it on screen right now. You don't get to say another word until you do. If you don't, I label you a liar. You've just deceived my audience. So present the mathematical theory for germ theory. Let's see it.
Okay, give me a few seconds to search this
No
up.
problem. We'll talk amongst ourselves, sunshine. Chop, chop. Suppose I could do some shout-outs while we've got a little period of silence. Shout out to Dank. Thanks for hitting the super chat while I was doing my intro yesterday. Much obliged. Alpha de Terraplaner, good to see you. I'll read lower down the list. It's going off before I can finish reading them. Gathica, Lenny, Harry, Jazzaconda, good to have you all. Gary Lowe, hello, pleased to see you. Sticky, hello. Bill G, thanks for being here. P Mars, shout you out, my friend. Shout out to P Mars. Flat Earth New Zealand, good to see you. Sean Hutton, thanks for being here. Nathan needs to what? Off screen too. Nathan needs to apologise. Good to have you. Psychics Warrior, or Physics Warrior as I call him. Good to have you. Ute, nice to see you. John Watson, thanks for the info on the chat not running properly. Much obliged. The Eye, nice to see you. Alex, good to have you here. That's we got. Emode UK. What's been censored? Poopy pants, something, what? Can't read it, too faded. Bear Schemo, you're in the show. Say hello, hi, good to see you. Long time no speak.
I was joking.
Sorry, my bad. Let's have a look.
Shout out to
Something's
Ramsey.
being presented.
Excellent.
Okay, so here we've got the Sera model for spread of disease.
Sorry, germ theory.
Well, it's a part of germ theory. So
Specifically,
you can't
germ
have a
theory.
simple.
We've got a scientific theory called germ theory.
It's a complex hypothesis. Very complex.
No. Germ theory is based on systematic experimentation and an adherence to the scientific method. It's not a complex hypothesis that they've done. It's a proper scientific theory. Germ theory. I'd like to see the mathematical formula for germ theory.
Here's one of the mathematical formulas for the model of spread of disease.
Model?
So
Model's a pseudoscience.
really, I've found models to work very well to explain things.
Science establishes a cause and effect relationship. We just went through this. Did you not listen to anything I just said? It's not based on models like globes and shit. That's models. That's pseudoscience. Science establishes cause and effect through systematic experimentation. That's science. Once you've gone through that process, you can develop theories based on your adherence to the scientific method. That would be called a scientific theory.
Models
Are
models help
pseudoscience. Models are pseudoscience. They're used when you have a limitation on your hypothesis. That's when you use a model.
Well,
when you have a
models are
limitation.
Models are developed by a whole lot of so if you've got a whole lot of different things relating to a particular subject, you can then develop a model about that subject.
Oh, right. So when you can't isolate an independent variable to vary and manipulate and establish a cause and effect with, so you're saying when we've got multiple variables, we develop models. That's correct. When you have a limitation on your hypothesis, they are, by definition, pseudoscience. Hello, bonehead.
Well, we've got a whole lot of models for predicting the weather, and they seem to work
sorry, did
well
you just
enough.
say the word... Sorry, did you just say the word predict?
Yes.
What's a scientific prediction?
A scientific prediction is making a
hypothesis. That's what a scientific prediction is. It's called a hypothesis. That's a scientific prediction.
Yes.
Right. I'll say it again just for the thicko who thinks I'm wrong about science and has made 2 videos based on his ignorance and stupidity. So when you have a limitation on a hypothesis, something that will establish an independent variable, that's when you use a model. When you have a limitation, you getting this down, retard? A limitation on your hypothesis. It is pseudoscience. Okay, bonehead?
Well,
you're going to tell me again how your model predicts things? Thicko?
I wouldn't say that models are pseudoscience.
Oh, wouldn't you? That's because you're a thicko. That's why I've demolished you on several levels here today, in front of a live audience of over 220 people. You are being demolished based on your ignorance. Models are pseudoscience. They are used when you have a limitation on a hypothesis. A hypothesis is a scientific prediction. If you fall outside of that, you are, by definition, pseudoscience. That's what models are. Pseudoscience. Okay, thicko?
Well, here's the thing. The model for... I
don't care what the model for what anything does. It's pseudoscience.
Well, we seem to be able to predict the weather pretty well using a model.
Do we? Oh, right. The other day it said it was going to be sunny and it rained.
Well, it's not 100% accurate.
Oh, really? That's why they're using models and not validating a cause. Yeah, you can only get a correlation when you have a complex hypothesis. So, yeah, it might rain, but that's not establishing the cause now, is it? That's not science, thicko. I don't want to know about your correlation. Not interested. We're interested in science. Okay, sunshine?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Good. So why have you got 2 shit-for-brains videos about me being wrong up? When you're wrong, and I'm right.
Because the thing is, what you're doing is you're taking the independent variable and saying that the independent variable is the cause.
No! It's your presumed cause in a hypothesis, which will also contain a null that says it has 0 difference. So you're wrong again, thicko.
Well, it still doesn't change the fact that that the thing that is the cause is actually the process, not the independent variable.
Sorry, the process of what? Varying and manipulating the independent variable? Yeah, the process of varying and manipulating a variable, the independent variable, establishes whether or not it's your cause. That's what science is. Why aren't you getting this? Why are you so stupid?
The process is not something that we do. It's something that happens.
Yeah, it is. You vary and manipulate You, the researcher, will vary and manipulate the independent variable. That's science. Why aren't you getting this? Why are you so stupid?
So going back to the
Answer my question.
example,
My question isn't about going back to anything. It's about why are you so stupid? You've just asserted that it's the process just happening. Nothing to do with us. No. You will vary and manipulate the independent variable. You, the researcher. You're going to acknowledge this, Thicko.
yeah, and by varying and manipulating the independent variable,
You establish whether or not it's your cause. That's correct. That's science, Sunshine. Well done.
we influence the dependent variable, and
What?
so we may
well done.
influence.
Well done.
And so there is a process that happens from the independent variable to influence the dependent variable. There is some process
there's no
that happens.
process going
there.
on. We're at hypothesis stage. We're not at the systematic experimentation stage. We're just at the hypothesis stage. Yeah? Nothing's happening here other than you writing stomach down that you assume is your cause. And what will happen if nothing happens in the experiment. So an independent variable isn't the cause.
Yeah, the independent variable isn't necessarily the cause.
No, it's the presumed cause validated by systematic experimentation. That's the full process if you're adhering to the scientific methods, not modelling stuff.
When it comes to the independent variable, that may have an effect on the dependent variable, correct?
Yeah, if you go forward with systematic experimentation to vary and manipulate the independent variable, you will establish whether or not you validate or invalidate your alternative or null hypothesis. One will be true, the zero difference, it does not have an effect and is not your cause, or it does and is scientifically validated as a cause of the effect. That's why you do systematic experimentation or hypothesis tests.
So
You get an F.
Yeah, you're a total failure. Idiot.
It's terrible. Seriously, the independent variable is the thing you vary, has no influence in the experiment on the dependent variables. That's ridiculous.
I says that it, I
Or
said that
the
it,
controlled variables, and you vary it. That's it. That's it. You have to vary it in order to be able to prove that it is a cause. And that's how you test it.
I
The
said
independent
that it-
variable is the only thing really being tested.
yeah,
It's
and I
the
said
focus
that
of the
it
experiment.
it may have an influence on the dependent variable.
No.
If it does,
No.
Yeah, it's a presumed cause. It may have an effect, and you validate if it does through systematic experimentation to validate or invalidate your cause of your effect. Your effect being your observed phenomena.
but I still wouldn't say that it's a cause because there's still a process that
How can you
happens.
be this
Yeah,
sick?
that would be called systematic experimentation to validate
There's a-
or invalidate your cause. Just by hypothesizing that it's your cause doesn't make it a cause. You validate it or invalidate it through systematic experimentation.
So let's go to a couple of flat Earth experiments, right?
What?
Oh, I want to test to see if this works on the laser experiments, right? What would be your independent variable there?
What laser experiments? I haven't done any laser experiments. Go and ask someone who's done a
Oh.
laser experiment.
Well, FE Core, I know that they've done laser experiments.
Go ask
Long
FE Core.
distance. Right.
So what would the
Did you not just hear what
What
I
would
said?
be-
I am not FE Core. Go ask FE Core. Maybe ask the people who did this so-called experiment.
Well, I could on the go formulate a basic hypothesis of a laser flatness test. How that will work would have to do with the independent variable would be the distance. So yeah, this is, I'm not trying to prove it right here, just saying this is roughly how it would work. It would be the distance of the laser, and the result would be the height, basically the height of how high the laser would be measured, and that would kind of prove how the layout of the land is, if it is curved or it's pretty much flat, and the climb of the laser over the distance is at a constant rate.
Not an experiment. It's just a test.
Yeah,
Just
but
a test. Will the
that's
laser
roughly
get to the other
how
side?
you
It's a
would
test.
try to
It's-
formulate it.
Well, you don't need to, because it's not something that requires scientific validity. In the same way as this picture on screen right now, I don't need any scientific validity to say I see that clock. That's the end of my statement. There it is. It's a concrete noun. I see it. If the laser makes it to the other side, same principle. It's just
But
a
it
test.
does climb in height, partially because of the scattering. So I've
Okay.
seen what they did, and this is roughly, it's a model. I know it's a model of interpreting the data, and you either look for a cumulative climb or it's a constant climb. And if it's a constant, then there is no curve. Very simple. It's a
But if the laser gets to
interpretation
the other
of data.
side, you don't need to establish a cause and effect relationship to say that you see the laser on the other side. I say the Earth is obviously and observably flat. What systematic experimentation is required to just look at something that's there? There is none. You just look at it. It's a concrete noun. The globe
Alright.
heads have convinced the world that when you just see something, it suddenly needs to be explained by science because it's a phenomena. It isn't. If you just see something, there it is. My explanation as a flat earther is, I see these things because they are there. Well, why would I need to scientifically validate that? I just see it. There it is. Oh, right, what's that you say? Because you believe in a radius value, that the model says that it shouldn't be there, therefore it's a slightly looming non-standard refraction effect of the atmosphere bending the light 7/6 of a presumed radius we used to make the model in the first place. That's what you need to accept when you look at that building. Well, I just say building. This land that we see here, north end of the Isle of Man. Well, there you go, north end of the Isle of Man. No further explanation required. I just see it because it's there. What's that you say? It's not really there. It's actually a hologram. No, that's because you've got a model, a religion, a space religion, with an Earth that's a sphere in a vacuum, with gas pressure next to a vacuum. They're all nonsense bullshit. None of it makes any sense. But we're told, what's your scientific validity for Earth being flat? Well, I don't need any for the bloody obvious. I just look at stuff that's far away and go, there it is, it's far away. Obviously and observably flat. Don't need any explanation. You need an explanation when we see this stuff that's far away and shouldn't be seen on your model. Thing that's used to give a limitation to a hypothesis, some sort of validity, or a correlation in a complex hypothesis. I'm sick of hearing it. There's no scientific validity to saying that there should be an Earth curve blocking this. There isn't, because I assume we're on an Earth that's spherical, and I assume light bends around its 7/6 of the radius. No, I don't have to accept any of that religious nonsense. That's just religious assertions by globeheads that believe they live on a sphere. I don't have to. There you go, building. There you go, land. No explanation required whatsoever.
Well, there's things I'd have to assume if I was on a flat Earth.
We do see them. There they are. It's on screen right now.
Oh, there are things that I'd have to assume if I was on a flat Earth.
No,
Like,
I don't have to assume anything. I just see it. What do I have to assume? I look at it. Well, how is that any different to me looking at my mouse that's right next to me? I look at my mouse, there it is. Do I suddenly need to make some assumptions about looking at my mouse? There it is, it's a concrete noun. There's my mouse, I see it. Why do you see it? Well, because there it is, I just see it. Oh, well, why do you see these buildings? Oh, well, suddenly we need to ask a few questions. No, we don't. There it is, I see it, it's there. No explanation required. Earth is obviously and observably flat.
Oh, I'd say that's very shallow to look at it just that way.
Oh,
Because
sorry.
there's
No,
definitely
no, it's
a lot
on
Why
more.
those
do I see
razor.
my mouse?
It's very
Why do I
simple.
see my mouse then? Why do I see this mouse? It's right next to me, but why do I see it? Is it
Oh.
what was it you said? Naive? Was that the word you used?
Well, the thing is, you see your mouse, and this is it's because light bounces off it, right? And so
Hi, Jose.
Hey,
Yo, it's me. Yeah, it's me. You see me? All right. Continue. I got a new logo. Multiple faces.
So you said because light bounces off it. That's true with every single thing I see ever, isn't it?
yeah,
Oh well, let's not worry about that then. That's true with everything I see. So let's not state the bloody obvious.
now we can also work out things to do with light. So
No, I just see it. There it is. Light bounces off it according to you. Great. I agree. So what? I see my mouse. Why do I need to give a further explanation to seeing my mouse?
Well, hang on.
Well,
Just before we move on to the light, hang on. Wait. Just before we move on to the mouses and stuff, I just want to ask Planarwalk. Does he now understand what an independent variable actually is in science? Back what an independent variable is, so that you've learned something from coming on today. I don't want you to go away not knowing what it is or telling people that it's something else. What it is in a scientific experiment, please.
it is a variable that you can manipulate to influence the dependent
must.
variable.
Not influence. You must manipulate it to prove causation, which is my comment on your video. You don't understand what causation is. You need to know what causation is if you're going to start correcting people. And you still don't seem to know that your independent variable is. Listen, your independent, your presumed cause, and you will manipulate it. You must manipulate it to prove causation, which was my comment on your video. So, in science, your independent variable is your presumed cause. Do you get it?
Not necessarily.
It is. No.
falling back
It is.
into this stupid same routine.
No,
You're
let
not
him.
listening
I want
at
him
all.
to do it one last time, Arwin. I want him to display to the audience. There's over 250 people. Demonstrate just how stupid you are.
I think
Say it
Arwen
back
actually.
after me. No. Say it back after me. What is your independent variable, please?
The independent variable is something that you can manipulate to influence the dependent variable.
There's a set answer for it. It is your presumed cause in a scientific experiment. Your presumed cause. You must manipulate it to prove causation. Say it. Repeat those words after me. It is your presumed cause.
I believe.
No,
I
I don't
don't
care what you
think-
believe.
You're a broken
I don't
record,
care what
aren't
you
you?
believe. I don't care what you believe. I want you to say the
I
words
don't
after
think that
me.
is
It is
correct.
your
So-
presumed cause.
It's establishing
think
a
that's correct.
cause and effect relationship. That's what you're doing. You're establishing a cause and effect relationship. That's what you're doing. But you're saying maybe
Why?
not cause, right? That's stupid. But say it a few more times. I'll keep this show going just while you keep repeating it, and we'll have a good laugh.
Well, I'd like
No,
to
to
see some
be fair,
sources.
Hold on, Arwin. Let's hear him
interpretation
tell us
of the
again
scientific
that it
method
might
he
not
has.
be. It might not be. Let's just hear it again.
Here's the thing. Like Arwen explained it with the flat Earth experiments. The independent variable is the distance.
But it's a
The
model.
Made that clear.
It's
They're not
only
experiments.
model.
Distance doesn't
Not
cause anything
experiments. Not experiments. If someone was presenting them here, they're not. You're just strawmanning us because we're not presenting those arguments and they're not our tests. So let's forget about that. They're not experiments. They're tests. So,
Yeah.
right. We're talking about your understanding of science. Establishing cause and effect relationships. Cause and effect relationships. Okay? So, the independent variable in a scientific experiment is your presumed cause. Do you still deny this? Let's hear it again.
I
Yeah,
disagree
he
with what
denies
you're
it.
saying
Why?
because
I'd like to see some sources for this. Your interpretation.
Find us
Huh?
some evidence that supports your position that your independent variable is what did you call it?
An influence on the
An
dependent
influence.
variable.
An influence, yeah. Find us something that says that your independent variable is an influence, not a cause.
Of course, he's gonna disagree. He made a few hit pieces for you guys. I'm
yeah.
looking forward to see his next video saying again Nathan doesn't understand the scientific method
Yeah,
after
here's
he
the
got
thing, though, Nathan.
destroyed. After he got destroyed in front of so many people, it's sad.
Nathan, here's the thing. If he doesn't think that it's the independent, if he does not think the independent variable is the presumed cause, are you able to bring up something that said, like, I mean, there's probably about 10 things you could find straight away that show that it is the presumed cause. Just get one.
Why? We're establishing a cause and effect relationship by doing this experimentation. That's
Because
the whole
he thinks
point.
you're wrong.
To say that it's
thinks you're
not
wrong.
a causal relationship that you're trying to establish is ridiculous. I'm not even going to justify that. No, I'm not going to bring up a source. Absolutely not. We're trying to establish cause and effect. That's what we're doing. So if you're going to deny the very nature of what we're doing, that's fine. I want him to do it 5 more times. I think it's hysterical.
I'm trying to remember what I was. There was a source that I had before.
Let's
but
just ask a direct question. Do you think that we're not establishing cause and effect relationships?
I think that you're establishing cause and effect relationships. I just think that you've placed the cause in the wrong place.
Where
The
do you
cause,
think,
I think,
hold on.
is
Where
in
do you
the
think
hype.
the cause goes?
Present your
Hold on,
sources.
Owen, let's just hear this. Where do you think the cause is? Not the independent
The cause-
variable.
The cause goes in the hypothesis.
Yeah, and you're saying it's not the independent variable, as we've been asserting for the last 25 minutes?
Yes, I think that it's not the independent variable.
Oh, really? So the thing you're going to vary and manipulate in a scientific experiment, why would you bother varying and manipulating it?
To work out what the process is that happens when you manipulate the independent variable.
No, you establish the process in your prediction. That's called a hypothesis. You establish that in
Yes.
the hypothesis.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that
I'm saying
process-
in the experiment, try to pay attention. Why would you vary and manipulate the independent variable? You've already established the process that you assume will happen in the hypothesis. So we're going forward to the experiment. Why would you vary and manipulate the independent variable if you're only trying to establish something that you've already done in the hypothesis? That makes no sense.
Well, to see if your hypothesis is correct. Obviously, if your null hypothesis turns out to be correct, then your hypothesis that you come up with, which would establish a process, is incorrect.
That's just gibberish. The null hypothesis is a direct mirror of the alternative, other than you don't get the effect when you vary and manipulate the independent variable. The only difference is you vary it and nothing happens. That's your null. So it's not establishing a process in experimentation. You're establishing the cause. Why are you talking over me? This is what retards do. When they should listen, they talk because they still think they're right. Right? No. The reason you perform systematic experimentation is to establish if your presumed cause is actually the cause. But you're trying to establish cause and effect, and the reason you do this is because you want to establish if your independent variable is or is not the cause.
Well, the thing is, there's also another thing happening when it comes to your independent variable. Your independent variable is part of the puzzle. You've also got a whole lot of other things which you've got to.
Sorry, what does the word independent mean?
It means that it's not dependent on something.
So not part of a puzzle then? Not part of multiple variables then? Independent of those things then? Tell me again that an independent variable's part of a puzzle of things. Tell me again, just so I can laugh at you.
An independent variable, to have an effect on the dependent variable, there must be some process that happens that the independent variable,
Right,
has
you're getting it wrong, dude. Independent variable is your presumed cause, not an influencing factor. It's your presumed cause. This is why I asked you to say it back after me, because you're not understanding it. You're just saying it's an influence. It's not. It's a cause.
Let us drag him through it. I'm going to keep this show going and just not have a second show while we drag this guy kicking and screaming through this obvious fact of science. That's what science does. Establish cause and effect. Hello. You want to kick and scream your way through this? No worries. We'll keep doing it.
Okay, I'll reestablish the experiment that I came up with. So to measure the speed
that's
of
not what we're asking
sound.
you to do.
Sorry, experiment that you came up with. So experiment isn't it? So you've come up with the expression of a hypothesis. Is that what you've come up with? Because You can't come up with an experiment. An experiment's a hypothesis test. So
Well,
it's
I
the
worked out
Shut
an
up!
experiment.
Shut up! It's the expression of a hypothesis. So you don't come up with an experiment.
Well, I worked out an experiment then.
No.
I still haven't seen these sources.
No. The scientific method starts with observation of a phenomena. So you don't go straight to experiment stage. That's what thicko globeheads do. Look, I'm going to come up with an experiment. Look, here's these balls in a shed. That's not the scientific method, though. First thing you do is observe a phenomena in the natural world. You don't start with an experiment. That's the expression of your hypothesis. Your hypothesis establishes your cause and effect relationship and your independent variable, your presumed cause. And if it isn't the cause, the zero difference result. That's hypothesis. And this is all based on naturally occurring phenomena. So you start by observing that phenomena, not with the experiment, thicko.
Okay, so the phenomena that I observe is that I can work out in which direction the sound is coming from.
That's not a naturally observing for this guy's just complete thicko.
Well, when you hear sound, you can work out where it's coming from.
When I
correct?
hear sound, that's your phenomena. When I hear sound.
Yeah, when you hear a sound, you can work out which direction it's coming from.
Okay, that's fascinating.
Yeah, so
You don't need
some people
scientific
would-
validity for this.
well, why do you hear? How can you
Why do
figure
you need
out
scientific validity for this? Are you stupid?
Okay, how do you figure out which direction the sound is
I
coming
turn
from?
my head.
Nathan, you're wasting your time, mate.
The guy's I can't believe how stupid he is. I mean, I gave up on him after my comment. I didn't notice till you sent it me, Anthony, that he'd made a second video. Because I immediately just gave up and went, this guy's a complete retard. Here he is on the show. He spent probably 40 minutes demonstrating to the audience his total ignorance of science. So, I think we'll probably round out for a short break there. If we've got time for a short show afterwards, I might fire one up. So first and foremost, I'm going to say a massive, huge, enormous thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully sharing this debate. And of course, a massive thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible. If you hated this show, then you know what to do. But if you liked it, maybe consider sharing it with a friend or subscribing if you've not done so already. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!